What's up, everybody? Welcome to Haunt Life Tonight. I'm Todd, and that is Michael, the better-looking version of me with hair. What's up, my brother? I figured I'd get you on that one.
That's awesome. I mean, wow, that's good. I love it.
Naturally.
No Kelley today. Kelley is still on vacation, but
I don't know if he's ever coming back.
Having some fun. But Todd and I this week have put together a stellar show for you where we get to interview Spencer Terry of Fear Factory out in Salt Lake City.
Wow. What a great gem to have from the industry in on our show. Spencer is a wealth of knowledge and another board member. And I'll tell you, since he's been on the board with me, I was just finishing I think I got one more year on my second term, and he just came in this last year, him and Alan Hops, and it's given us some fresh, oh man, it's so good having these guys around that really are, just amazing in our industry, but just fresh blood. And I love talking with them, so it's going to be a great show.
Absolutely. I mean, if a lot of you viewers out there are really interested, you guys are going to be really interested in a lot of things that Spencer has to say about the industry and about his haunt. If you really want to, you can visit his website, fearfactoryslc.com. You can kind of get an idea as to what he's referencing and what he's talking about, because this haunt has so much stuff in it that we can't touch base all of it in one episode of the show.
Yeah.
So visit the website and watch the rest. That's for sure.
It's going to be a long show. Well, Michael, let's get to some breaking news.
Absolutely.
Let's do the news. And we're back. Hey, we're going to be quick with the news today. Guys, we had our first inspection today for the new building for Delirium, and we passed with flying colors. We've got our certificate of occupancy. We're ready to scare you. That's all we got to say. The building's done. The haunt's ready. We're going to be ready this fall if everything works out with, the state. So what do you think, Michael?
Firing on all 5 cylinders. That makes the grand total of 5 attractions at Reaper's Revenge this year, still operating across 68 acres. And we're still deciphering the number of actors that are going to be with us for that attraction right now. But nonetheless, it has been great progress and lots more to come. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's a really cool attraction. I'm loving it. So what are we getting to then? What do we got going on?
Listen, man, Reapers recalled. I think we kind of just skip that right now and head right into some Spencer and get that going.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk to Spencer about, so we probably can't fit it all in this week. Let's get to our special guest. Hey, we're back, folks. What's happening? So excited today. Got my friend. Look at Spencer. He's actually up on the top screen over next to me because Michael jumped in after Spencer Terry from Fear Factory, Salt Lake City. Spencer, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Todd?
I'm pumped, man. Always like having my Haunt brothers on here.
Good to see you.
Another board member from Haunted Attraction Association. Thank you for your service. Let's jump right into it, Spence. How did you get started in this crazy industry we're in?
Man, where to start? It's really thanks to my dad. I was, as far as the family tale goes, I was, I think 9 years old. My dad recognized that I thought trick-or-treating was stupid, and I wanted to stay in the bushes and scare people when they came up to our house. And so one year he's like, screw it. And he ended up building this cool coffin, and it had a little headstone on it that said Wolfman dead ? Didn't use silver bullets. And it was downhill from there. And every year after that, I stayed home and I kind of helped build our little yard haunt. And it, one thing led to another. When I was running hotels, we needed to do a team member event, and we said, let's turn the Grand Ballroom into a haunted house. Crazy idea. It's very hard to turn a beautiful 4-star hotel Grand Ballroom into a scary haunted house. But we did it. And then my wife and I moved.
Spence, let me correct you on that. It's not hard to turn it into a haunted house. I think that it's hard to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Blood on the floor never goes well, right?
I'm still cleaning stuff from the haunted house we did here years ago for a fundraiser. I told my boss, I said, I promise it'll be put back exactly how it is.
Right.
There's blood everywhere.
I promise.
I'm still cleaning blood out of some of my jackets.
Yeah, right.
It's like the stuff just doesn't go away. And at that point, you're like, why even bother? By the time I get this stuff out of here, we're opening, and it's just going to happen again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, it's good to hear that you have the traditional start, as all of us have.
It's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We all started there. And I mean, did anybody look at you weird when you said you were going to become a professional haunter?
Well, that's the crazy part. I never wanted to. I think like a lot of us, we get into this industry because we love it and we find a place for us, right? Like, I think all of us as haunters, like we want to find our thing, right? No, I mean, I run hotels and casinos for a living. I was a private consultant for a decade of my life. Like, this was not my end goal. I don't know that it is my end goal. But I love being able to create space for people to do what they love. And quite frankly, haunters are damn good at doing that exact thing. So if that means I get to help be part of that, to be able to like really do something cool and be part of the process and get to help make a really cool brand at Fear Factory and help out our owners and help our actors do what they love and help our customer service team kill it at what they do, I'm in. Let's do it. So
right. Well, you definitely do a great job.
How old is the Fear Factory now?
It's 9 years old. That's it. We are such an infant in the haunt industry. And since I've joined the team in 2015, so summer of 2015. So it's been a good 5-year run of kind of really being able to help kind of steer the boat in some very turbulent waters at times, and just kind of really keep us moving. But it's been great.
How many attractions are you up to now?
We just have one. So we specifically have just our main attraction, but that attraction it's massive. I mean, it's 6 different buildings, 2 underground passages. It's 3/4 of a mile. I mean, it is huge. It is huge. Like
I know. I keep watching your video over here on my other screen. I've got your video just playing, and I'm blown away. Now, I apologize.
Get over here.
Yeah,
I'll host you any day or night. You name it.
I'm definitely coming now. The one question I'm glad Michael brought up, the length of the haunt. Is it this year Legendary or was it last year? Because I remember I was building that other haunt, and I haven't been at Legendary. Was it last year?
2 years ago, 2018.
Yeah, I missed it. I haven't missed any Legendary until I was doing that. So tell us about your experience with Legendary. You would have been 7 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Which I think you got us at Reapers by, Michael, were we 7 or 8 years old?
We were 1 year. We were 1 year old, technically 2 years older than them. So we would have been in our
I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, Todd, I'm not going to let you forget that ever. I'm so glad you brought. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate those numbers.
Yeah, I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yep.
Now, tell us about Legendary. I mean, that's a huge badge of honor before, your 10-year point. I mean, we were so blown away when we got to be. We were the opening night show. You guys, I think there was only 2 shows on that one, right?
Yep. Yeah, only 2 shows, and both were end of season, so we just pretty much stayed open, and we actually ran a show just like normal for them. It was really good. I really appreciate the work that goes into Legendary. The Legendary Hauntour, I think, in general, is something I think a lot of people kind of skim over as, it's after my season, don't really know if I should go or not. And we commit to trying to send at least one of our team to Legendary every year if possible, because there's so much to learn. You've got the learning on the technical side, but then there's also the soft learning and like social, networking and building and kind of connecting with other fellow haunters. And I think that's just as valuable.
Yeah, if not more valuable.
Yeah, if not, yeah. You're right, if not more. I love it. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And there's a lot of, things that even I didn't think of. One of the things that, is folks were standing in our queue line getting ready to enter, and everyone was noticing that one of our rules is that if one of you in your group screws up, we don't just kick out that one person, we kick your whole group out. And for other haunted houses, they were like, that's brilliant. And in my head, I'm thinking, why are you all not doing the same thing? So there's all these learning moments that go back and forth about things that, as a property you're doing and sharing those tales, and that's just going to help strengthen the industry. So cheers. It's a great program. Love it. Very
I
honored.
completely agree. I mean, I think, Legendary Haunt Tour, I've noticed over the last few years, there are a number of owners and, the big ups at all these other haunts that show up. But I really find that, getting the opportunity to take, your young team, I'm talking about, the actor managers, the people who do a lot of the creative, the building, sending them out on these Legendary Haunt Tours is crucial. Even a couple actors, that are, a stronghold in your team, in your cast. I just find it to be a really logical thing to do for any haunt that's expecting to compete on the bigger scale of things. I loved having a lot of the other actors from the other haunts showing up, just being like, this place is cool. And, the owners, of course, they get their time in with the other owners and they see a lot of stuff. But for any creative team involved in a bigger haunt, I think Legendary Haunt Tours is a complete no-brainer. You should get them on there and get them there.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, I can't wait. Obviously this year is going to be weird. We're going to get to that in a second, but I'm hoping things are cool this year because I really feel like now, I'd like to go back. I can't believe I missed Atlanta last year. That's why the last 2 years have just been crazy. And I so am coming to see your show, though. I can't stop watching this video. So speaking of, as I'm watching your video and I'm looking at everything going on the screen, what an impressive property. Tell us that backstory of that property. What's going on there?
Yeah, it really is something else. In fact, let's tie these all together. At Legendary, one of the things that we kept hearing again is, some of the best haunted houses in the world are at Legendary, but the one thing that everyone told us is, we're not going to lie, we're a pretty cool haunted house, but we don't have a 100-year-old cement factory. Like we just don't. And that's it. This sucker's over 100 years old. There's 6 different buildings on property. They go all the way up to 6 stories high. There are 2 underground passages. Both of them one of them is a linear tunnel. The other one is a really big underground room where the old grinders used to be. And this whole thing used to be a big old cement factory. And they would bring in all this lime and bring in the rock and grind it there on site, mix it together, boil it, and then turn it into the cement that would then be used during the 19th century. And it's crazy to hear like the stories of how people died there. It's ghost stories are one thing, but to be able to really get to hear seriously, some dude fell 6 stories down into a boiling pot of limestone and boiled to death. Really? So
right.
Yeah. It's a crazy place. It's amazing. And it's later been, a wooden stake. Yes. Like vampire wooden stake. It's been an old wooden stake plant. It was abandoned for a good 20 years. And the homeless folks in Salt Lake City use that as kind of like a home base because there's a train line that runs right next to it. So there's definitely been, it's got its fair share of sketchiness for sure.
Right.
Got a patina to it.
Well, and I appreciate how you share that information on your website. I'm looking at the Grim Ghost Tours right now, and we're going to get to the buses in a second. Michael, I'm going to let you open up the question on that. But what a fascinating backstory and an interesting way, by interesting, I mean brilliant, to use it to your advantage in all aspects. Your website, very well done. I just love everything about the brand. I think, I just don't know why I have not made a trip to Salt Lake, and I need to be out there this year. Michael, it's yours. I'm going to keep talking about how great it is because it looks awesome.
So, me personally, I love Salt Lake. I usually visit Utah every 2 or 3 years, sometime during the summer or the winter for the ski season. And I think it's one of the coolest cities, out in the West, flat out. And but I also know that, transportation in that city, it's a city. It's not just, you're spaced out, all that stuff. So you guys have actual buses that you're using to transport your audio, your customers to the actual property at this point?
Yeah, exactly. So we're a downtown property. So if you've been to Salt Lake, you've probably seen the tower or you've been close enough to it. And parking downtown sucks, right? It's like any other city. And so, we have street parking, which is great. It works really well. But, we have a capacity to it. And so we have contracts with different areas that we'll either pick up or, like there's a mall just about 7-8 blocks north of us. And so people can park there, secure a parking lot, right? You go there, you have dinner first at the mall, have a nice sit-down restaurant. Even during COVID, you can still do that. And then you hop on the bus and you come over to the factory. We have 3 buses in our fleet. Our original one that's certainly most known for is the zombie bus. That's the one that we usually put in parades. It's like old school diesel. It starts up and you wonder if the rain's going to start coming, like the cloud's that dark, but it's a pretty dark diesel. And then we have our gray bus, which is fully electric, natural gas. It's a fully natural gas vehicle. And that sucker's pretty cool. It's our clown pox theme. So the whole outside of it is like graffiti style and clown pox and all these colors. We hired a local artist to do a lot of tagging on it. Which has been really kind of cool to kind of see that evolve. And then the third one is this, it's actually being built right now. Right now it kind of looks like a camouflage desert vehicle, but it's kind of going to have a Mad Max theme to it. It's going to have, like fake, rail wire, and some of the windows are going to be like boarded up with chain link. It's going to have a turret on top. Like it's going to be, it's a pretty cool Mad Max beast once it's done. So yeah, we're really proud of them. And it's just another way for folks to get to experience the factory, like a pre-show. It's like a pre-show.
Yeah, that's great. I'm blown away, man. I'm looking at all this. It's like I'm a kid in a candy store right now. It's so great, man. So let's, Michael. I know you're going to want to talk a little bit about VR in a minute. I want to just jump in with halfway to Halloween thing, Spence. I thought it was great. First of all, you put out a 60-page document that was out there for other haunters to use. You shared it with Haunted Attraction Association so we could get it out and do what we do for the industry. But I mean, man, you were right there. I mean, everybody was just barely in the house for a month and you guys had to open up halfway to Halloween. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. I think it's probably one of the hardest decisions and one of the hardest things to execute I've ever done in my working career. We have really great owners. That's probably a good place to start. Our owners, they're phenomenal. They're hands-on. They're really great folks. And we originally were planning to open up the 15th and 16th. And we just decided, it's just not worth it. Let's push it back a couple of weeks, even though Utah had kind of started to open things up a little bit. But ultimately what it came down to is we wanted to be able to see how hard this was going to be because we all honestly believed that it was going to happen in the fall. And we're now seeing the resurgence happen, and, whether it lasts a month or 2 or 3 or 4, I mean, if you remember back in the day, everyone said it's going to be fine come summertime because it doesn't really do well in the heat. Check out all of our numbers, right? Like we're in the dead summer right now. And,
in the hottest states too.
Yep. So it was good for us to be able to open and really just kind of gauge how are we going to be able to do this? How is our team going to be able to do this? And very quickly we realized it was so much bigger than us because at the same day that we had all these massive things, Transworld made the decision to postpone. You've got Disney, you have Universal, you have NHL, like all these massive, massive industries were collapsing in days and just saying, we're closed, we're postponing, we're doing this. It was pretty scary. And so for us, we it was a test of fate. We had some of our owners that are like, this is stupid. Like, let's not do it. But in the end, we made a decision collectively and we said, let's lean in. Like, let's really do this. And let's give it the best shot that we can because that's going to help us run our fall. And I would rather lose money in May than I would lose money in the fall when that's all of our bread and butter, right? So, yeah. So, game on. I don't know that I've worked that many hours in that short of time for a one-day event in my life. I looking back and writing that 60-page, and I certainly didn't do all of it, but probably a good 85-95% of it. But there's a lot of content in there. If anyone who's watching hasn't seen it yet, please check it out. I mean, I'm consistently hearing from, I heard from an aquarium the other day. It was like, hey, we're not a haunted house. Read your contingency plan. We got it from a friend of a friend of a friend who owns a haunted house. It's brilliant. This is going to save our butt. We're going to be able to open. We just got our final permission.
Wow.
Which is great. And for me, like, that's the stuff that I'm like, heck yeah, like that's what we wanted to try and do we wanted to do something for us and make it work. But I think for the industry, man, we have an industry to save right now. I mean, you look at what's happening in theater in general, and everyone's talking about Hamilton. It's on Disney Plus, and there's all these reminders out there of, hey, hope you're enjoying your show. But P.S. remember, like, all of us are unemployed. And I think it's the same thing for our industry of entertainment. It's going to be a rough year, but full speed ahead. We either make a decision to hold off and put all your resources into 2021, or lean in full speed ahead 2020. So.
Right.
And I think right there, you answered a lot of the questions that I have of the COVID-19. You know what I mean? You really touched base heavily on that. I mean, I don't want to beat it to death, because we're as a country, we're all going through it. We're all dealing with it as business owners and as performers, and all of us in the entertainment industry. We're all seeing it. The film and TV industry, we're closed. I keep hearing inklings of work here and there. I just recently got hired for a job, but now I just received, as a department head on the film set, I have an entire, 30-page document that I need to read and sign off on, and I need to train the staff below me to abide by those rules. Everything's changed. Even to the point where, you take a 2-day shoot, it's now lasting 4 days because of all the different things that we need to put into motion to safely operate throughout the day. You know what I mean? And, with that is breeding a whole bunch of new ideas, across the board in our industry, the TV and entertainment industry. And I think one of those new things that's being bred up is something that you've actually been doing for an extended period of time, kind of pioneering in the pioneering phase of all this. And that's VR. You know what I mean? That's you really are a firm believer that that's the direction that a lot of entertainment is headed. So, I mean, I really want to know, what are you guys doing with your VR experiences? Where do you see the success with it? And are you going to be pushing it hard this year as well?
Yeah. Yeah, Michael, VR is a game changer for me. I used to not believe in it. I used to think I really do believe in the physical experience. I really do. That there's a reason why people want to leave their world and go to another world and experience something safely in another world. And, back in the day, I remember getting made fun of at Transworld when people were like, dude, you're crazy. And I was like, let's have this conversation in 5 or 10 years, because it really is going to shift. And we made the decision, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, to do VR. And in the past, we've kind of like just done small stuff. And last year, 2019, we actually hired Octagon, which is a local Utah VR company. Great developers, great dev team, great artists. And we said, we'd like a video game. We want to be the first haunted house in the world to have our own video game. And if you can kind of build like this factory, can you build it? And they were like, yeah, no, we're not interested. It's going to cost too much. And I said, okay, cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Then they came back to us about 4 months later and said, hey, we really think you're onto something. We think the market's going to shift, and we are willing to do this, and we're willing to cut you a pretty killer deal. And we're going to make you a video game. So we pressed go, and it was months. Oh my gosh, it was so much time. I've never built a video game before. I don't know what I'm doing. So these guys handled most of it, but technology is catching up. And where I used to believe in the physical world, which I still do, there's going to be people out there listening in our industry that are going to cringe when I say this, but our industry, what's going to happen is there's going to become this is my belief, is there's going to become 2 roads of the haunt industry. Road 1 is going to be these kind of like really big haunted house experiences, like a Disneyland, right? But for the haunt industry. Everything else is going to be a VR, where you're going to have these folks, they're going to have a haunted virtual experience, and you either can go to a parking lot and you walk around in a parking lot, or maybe it's a tennis court, or maybe it's in someone's big backyard, and you can buy these privatized, because we're seeing entertainment in general coming to the home more and more and more. And COVID, unfortunately, has not helped us in that scenario because now people are, I mean, you remember when the Switch, you couldn't buy a Switch for like 2 months because everyone wanted to get it in their home so they could play it in their home, not be because they couldn't go somewhere to do it. So I think it's coming. I really do. And I think collaborating on some really cool things would be great. You know, even for us, the factory that we built, it's that it was a roaming free headset. And so you were in a 40 container, in a 40-foot, 8-foot high container, still shipping container, but you walked freely. And so you were inside this VR world, walking through what seemed to be this massive factory space. But in reality, physically, you were only, sorry, that's my cute dog. Can you see my cute dog down there? But you're in this like physical space and you're able to walk around, and people completely forgot that because they're not tethered at that point. VR is becoming good enough that you're not tethered. That's been a trip. It really is a trip. I mean, even for me to know the design, to know the game, to know how it's mapped, to know where I should be in the container, every time I took my headset off, I was somewhere totally different than I thought I was. So it's pretty cool. We'll see where we're going. We'll see where we're going.
So I have one focused question about the VR world for you.
Okay.
Are you guys combining at all the reality of sound or touch or anything like that with your VR experience, or is everything that's happening with the VR experience happening within the goggles and either the headphones or whatever you're having them wear?
It's definitely 4D, hands
Really?
down. Yeah. So we're working right now, the dev team, because we have VR, and you've got that experience here. Think of like when you went to the movie theaters, right? So it used to be seriously. So come here, honey. So it used to be black and white, and then it went from black and white to music, and then it went from black and white to music to color, and then it went from color to 3D, and it went from 3D to this now that all these different things that you can see the evolution happening. I think same thing. Back in the day when VR or even like video gaming was Doom, right? Like take Doom for example, like old school Doom compared to where it is now. Holy crap! And I think same thing. Any way that you can integrate sound, you've got sound from your VR, from your goggles, but so you integrate air blasts or you integrate vibrations in the floor, and that's the fun part of a still container is no matter where you are in that still container, you're going to feel that vibration. So stuff like that, I think, is going to be key in the future. Let's not mention that the last 2 years, I think, the largest vendors at Transworld have both been VR companies.
Sure.
So it's coming. It's coming, and people are figuring out how to do it. And we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know.
I love it. That's some good intel right there for me.
It is. So listen, I want to close with this. One, Spencer, thank you. You've been a great guest today. Super excited to have you with us, and always like collaborating on everything we do together. But really interesting to interview you for once, because usually we're just bouncing ideas back and forth, and I pay attention to you because I think you're a wealth of knowledge in the industry. But what I really want to know is, when are we going to take Z-Tag and have a competition between Reapers and Fear Factory?
You're going down, sucker.
No, I've been thinking about this for a couple months now.
No, I believe you.
I really am thinking I want to put the challenge out there to your crew versus our crew. I don't care if we get it done by the end of the year or we do it in the spring, whatever. But we've got to come up with a similar scenario that works at both facilities. But I want escape room stuff thrown in where they got to figure out some stuff. You got to use your brain, not just run around.
Yep.
And I'm thinking I'm going to put my team against yours. I think we're going to take you down.
No, I think you are too, quite frankly. I mean, we don't even have we've only been able to run. We were supposed to debut Stay Alive, which is our escape room, haunted house, Z-Tag, immersive survival experience. We were supposed to debut that April 1st this year.
Yeah.
So, of course, all hell broke loose and we never got to. Are we ready for it? Yep. We can do it tomorrow if we want to.
Yeah.
But I love Z-Tag. I mean, I love the Z-Tag product. I love what Quan and the Gantham team have been able to put together.
Totally agree.
It's wicked cool, and I think there is something beautiful about not just going through a haunted house and getting scared, but actually getting to engage with other people. Man, I do. I love it. I totally love it.
Well, I think the staying alive, ever since you said the staying alive thing in the beginning when we were talking with Quan about the whole thing, he told me as I took interest in Z-Tag, what you were doing, and then you and I started talking about it. I've been totally hooked since. I love the idea, and I want to just have that competition from across the country for whatever. And let's see where it goes. But that kind of plays into Stan and Quan's whole his whole theory for having, like a tournament style or a league. I want to challenge you. I want to play your game at some point.
Accepted.
So, well, thanks again for being here, my friend. Always a pleasure to see you. And Michael, you got anything else for him?
No, brother. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you having on the show.
All right.
Absolutely.
Over and out, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
What an awesome interview.
Tell me about it. I could talk to that guy forever. I mean, just one of the kindest souls that I've ever met in the industry. Open book, and really cares about helping other people. I mean, I tell you, every time I talk with Spencer, I'm like, wow, just a good dude, and really he's got a great family out there, and just good people, man.
I'm really looking forward to my next trip out to Salt Lake and being able to see that. That's a big point. That's a big point. Big box checker for me to get out there and see his show. So, I mean, great guy, great interview, good times, a lot of good advice, a lot of strong intellect on the industry and the entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah.
I think overall, Spencer's on the leading curve of a lot of the stuff we have in our industry.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the way he was talking about, back at the end of May when it's halfway to Halloween, most of us were still at home and just hoping we were going to have a season and hoping things went by. That guy was out in the trenches with a 60-page COVID document showing how he could open at the end of May. Yep. Are you kidding me?
It's a big hot item right now to be talking about that. I mean, I know we're getting a lot of messages on the Reaper's Revenge Facebook right now, Instagram. Are we opening? Are we opening? Are we opening? And, I put up an automated response, just kind of stating, we're at the beck and call right now of the industry and what the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania does. But we want to assure, Todd and I especially really want to assure everybody that the entire team at Reaper's Revenge has been working diligently with the goal of opening in 2020. So, we're just awaiting to see what happens and what legalities we have to conform to and deal with, to make sure that we're doing the best for our customers, our staff, and our business.
Yeah. And, like Spencer said to me, too, before the interview today, they just put their calendar out for, I'm looking at it on my screen over here, September. They've got, they're opening the same night as us, Friday the 18th, doing the Friday and Saturday thing. Then they do Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays and Sundays throughout October, all the way up to the end of October. They're opening a week straight up to Halloween every night. And then they're going to be open for some ghost stories after. They're open November 1st, and then they got a lights out on the 13th. Yeah. Really ambitious season, but with some people closing right now for the year, they're putting their best foot forward, and they've already tested their COVID policy. They know they can do it.
Absolutely, and like
impressive stuff.
The state of Utah does a whole lot of things different than most states on the East Coast. They have their progressive side, but they also have just a completely different atmosphere out there. So
yeah, but great information, and just awesome to share. He's an open book. He's willing to share, and he cares about the industry moving forward, not just making them look great, but he does make them look great. So hey, man, we could talk about this all day long. That's why we had to skip recall today. So let's get out of here. We'll see everybody next Friday. And Michael, I'd like to have you still here with me, even though Kelley's going to be back.
I'm down. Let's do it. I have fun. We have a good time. I think adding me into the mix with you and Kelley, I think it'd just be more goofy and just weird. Let's just do it.
Or more hair.
More hair.
All right, brother. See you later. And thanks, guys, for tuning in. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
You still here? It's over. Go home. Go. And get off my lawn.